Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands, and today is the WNR403. It's NXT update. Monty is taking a well-deserved break, so I will break down 6 episodes of NXT, 7 episodes of NXT UK, and Impact Hard to Kill. But first, the latest on the WWE Network, and I checked in on Season 1. Ruthless Aggression. And this was really interesting, actually, going back and seeing it. Jim Cornette, a talking head, and Bruce Pritchard kind of the main lead. And John Cena was refreshing honest. And we move on for different episodes. We have the Evolution one, which was good. The Dudley Incident discussed. Batista is so honest, Bubba is a dick. Basically, in the match, Batista and Orton both got injured. And we've been the end of Evolution at the time, and Mark Jindrak being included was brilliant. I am so glad they mentioned it. Triple H just didn't want him in. Batista got injured for a matter of months, and Mark Jindrak was going to be in there to replace him. They filmed it with 4 as well, so Jindrak, Orton, Flair, and Triple H. And at that time, Jindrak and Orton were kind of best mates, and Triple H hated him. You feel a bit sorry for Mark, but even only together fully for 10 months. You look at that impact that they had. Onto Brock and Paul. Onto Brock, and Paul points out Lesnar's first run was only 2 years. So you look at these ruthless aggressions here, 10 months and 2 years here. Of course, Heyman, the main talking head. Season 2 talks about Hollywood Rock. Again, only around for 4 months. Innovations as well, stuff like the Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank. Some misses, like the Concrete Crypt, the Women's Revolution with, of course, Trish and Lita, but Ivory, Jackie, Molly, Victoria, and Mickey could all work. And thanks, Fit Finlay, for actually helping out. And don't try to say you did anything, Steph, because I see what you did there. The return of HBK, of course, the match at SummerSlam 2002. I mean, I personally didn't like the DX return, but I kind of think his second run was better than his first when it comes to Michaels. And the last episode, Securing the Future. I mean, the clips in the warehouse in 97, like Mark Henry and The Rock, just really good stuff. If you had to watch one episode, the entire 2 series, it would be the last one of Season 2. And the Broken Skulls with DDP. I mean, these guys have known each other for decades, and it shows. DDP looks great for 65. There's great clips from a tryout from Paige early on in WWF back in 1991. And, there was a lot of stories. Have we heard most of them? Yes, we have. Like the cookie incident, especially with Ed McFoley's book, with the relationships involved. But the passion and the heart of Paige is still there. And it shows he still cares. He's crying like a baby. Makes me love him more. And the macho message great as well, left on in the machine. And talking about the stalker angle was brilliant. Sometimes people might want to talk failed. Of course, even he mentioned his wife was Kimberly at the time, and then they tried to make him as a stalker, which kind of didn't really work. But really, really good stuff. So we're going to start NXT. So it's December 7th, and the show opens with a recap of War Games, and Von Wagner makes his entrance trying to look like a badass who didn't get got by Kyle O'Reilly, and just gets got by Kyle O'Reilly, again leading to a steel cage match. O'Reilly attacked Von Wagner to walk to the ring. He sent him into the steel cage and shut the door to start this off. He hit a running knee, the series of running forearms before locking in the guillotine. The big man powered out low into a suplex. Kyle O'Reilly nearly took the win with a diving knee, but Wagner kicked out, low blowed O'Reilly, and followed that with a double underhook side slam for the win. And the big man decided he was not done yet. He smashed O'Reilly's head repeatedly with the cage door, and backstage was inevitable, and it would carve a path through NXT 2.0. Looking at this, O'Reilly called the spots loudly, but who cares? He's leaving. This was a bit messy, but the end of the Undisputed Era. Joe Gacy talked about the future of NXT 2.0, the next step being Harlan's in-ring debut next week. Bron Breakker challenged Tommaso Ciampa for a rematch, but Diamond Mine walked out. They issued their own challenge. Roderick Strong wanted to fight Breakker next week, and Young Star accepted. Braun is just fine. I just worry about his booking. Looks like New Evil will be the place. Briggs and Jensen versus the Creed brothers. Imperium arrived to watch this match from stage. The Grizzled Young Veterans joins commentary and Vinci stealing a tag rope from Josh Briggs to keep Brooks Jensen fighting solo. In the chaos though, Jensen caught Brutus Creed with a roll up for the win. Kushida and Ikemen celebrated the win backstage with Jensen and Briggs until GYV walked in an argument issue that led to a brawl between Kushida, Jiro, Gibson and Drake, and Mi Ying standing up in her pajamas from behind a counter, slowly sliding back down. So the Creeds lose again. They didn't look too bad, but I hate Briggs and Jensen. It looked like a pin-up for a women's magazine. Imperium were the most over. And what was this? Like the finish actually didn't make sense. The heels got involved, but the faces still won. The tag division does need work. Just give Gibson a mic. He was great. Duke Hudson came out in a fake wig. Cameron Grimes mocked him and challenged him to no hold bars match for next week. I didn't realise it was a wig till Barrett stumbled over his words. Angle did it better with the headpiece. Grayson Waller tried to shut up a woman in the parking lot, but she already had plans with L.A. Knight. Knight said to Waller, you're about likes and views. Do you like this view? Great line. Waller, angry and alone, said he would get views all right. Carmelo Hayes versus Dexter was next. Trick Williams was clearly spooked by Dexter early while the torchlighters went after the banded ribs of the champ. Loomis tried to pull out the silence, but Mello battled through when Loomis got locked in. Trick cheap shot him to cause a DQ. Afterwards, Loomis tried to choke out Trick, but Hayes pulled him out to safety. And Mello's wrestled nearly every NXT, and this was fine. MSK opened the door to meet the Shaman, and it's Matt Riddle. He said he's been waiting for them, and he watches NXT all the time, and it'll be business, bro. Indy Hartwell and Persia Perotta are chatting backstage. Persia wants to get on the same page and go after tag titles and to focus 100% and leave the love at home. Dexter rolls up and scoops his wife, and Johnny Gargano swoops in to hug both of them. Mandy Rose explained that Toxic Attraction still ruled NXT, and that everyone's intention no matter who won at War Games. While Gigi Dunn and Jace Jane were bandaged up, they still competed against Valentina Feroz and Yusa Leon. They stopped a hot tag flurry and won with a springboard kick. And the God's Greatest Creation talked down every challenger, but was interrupted by Cora Jade, who was wearing a sling. Gonzalez then arrived with a steel chair, and Toxic Attraction ran back up the ramp. Backstage, Kaylee Ray gave Jade a baseball bat to protect herself. And during the commentary, Vic Joseph said he draws over 1 star in NXT. I wonder who. The faces looked alright, but who will step up? Tony D'Angelo's interviewed backstage. He's braggadocious about his win, and Andre Chase rolls up to say maybe if he'd listened, he'd come off like a star of War Games and not Grayson Waller. D'Angelo challenges to a match next week. We get Santos Escobar versus Zion Quinn. Escobar pinned Quinn to the mat with a focus attack on his arm. Quinn fought back and hit a rolling fireman's carry, and the two battled to the top rope. The Emperor then sent him careening to the floor with a Frankensteiner. Lopez slipped brass knuckles on Quinn's hand, causing a conflict with the referee, which allowed Escobar to hit the Phantom Driver, win. I am pleasantly surprised Santos won. I do not like the LWO-inspired Legado logo, but be the first Legado, not harping on the past. I mean, I understand the sentiment. Quinn should keep his brain out of his pants. A nice bump off the top low. Malcolm Bivens says Roderick Strong is going to beat Bron Hay rolls up to his sister. He's the champion in NXT. Bivens cites Roddy's accolades, and Hay said he knows how good Strong is, but he's not the A champion. We see Candice Ranger the Gunner hanging out backstage to send us to a break. When we're back, we get a video package of Boa calling out Idris Enofi and prompts him to take it out. And then Johnny Gargano makes his entrance and gets on the mic. He says, I'm sure Michael's told him he can go as long as he wants since Chucky is done. He said he didn't want to think about what he said before coming out, and his one regret in the past 6 years, he spent too much time wondering if he was good enough and not enough time in the moment. He tells us that we deserve wrestling we can be proud of, and he hopes he gave us that. He recounts being told that to try it, he would never make it in NXT, but William Regal brought him back to Full Sail to do a dark match against Apollo Crews, and the fans chanted Johnny wrestling so hard they had to bring him back every week, even without a contract. Takeover main events, video games, action figures, we helped him. He's always doubted himself, but the only place he ever felt special is inside the ring. His family might be in Cleveland, but his family is backstage too. Hunter and Shawn mean the world to him, but Matt Bloom, Steve Corino, Terry Taylor, Sarah D'Amato, his buddy Vic Joseph, the name after name. He knows change is scary, but sometimes you have to change. The one message he wants to leave is that if you fail, you bet on yourself. He doesn't know what his immediate future holds, and that's up in the air still, but he does know that in February he starts the most important job in his life, a father. He said he's going to love that little guy so much, but right now he's going to worry about his wife and his son and teach him the best man that he can be. And then Grayson Waller blindsides him with a steel chair to the head and throws him out of the ring. Waller goes to the floor and hits Johnny with a chair before putting him in the steel stairs. Chair first. Grayson clears the table and powerbombs Johnny wrestling through it. This was real emotion. Everyone on their feet. Not a dry eye in the house. Please don't go, chance. It's like a Doctor Who regeneration. We don't want you to go. But Waller as a heel really works. And a piece of shit chant. Wow. Looks like we've got a brand heel. But December 14th, and after Waller arrived to the arena with boos, Grimes came to the ring with cheers. He faced Duke Hudson in a no DQ match. Grimes went for a cave-in only for Hudson to catch him with a powerbomb for a poker table. The poker player then tried to shave Grimes' head with clippers. Distraction allowed the technical savage to recover. He hit a poison runner into a cave-in to Hudson sitting on a steel chair to take the final victory in this rivalry. This was fine. Grimes gets a win and ends the feud on top. Bald Duke don't look too bad. Backstage, Cora Jade is interviewed. She's interrupted by Dakota Kai, who tries to warn her about teaming with Raquel Gonzalez, but Cora's not having any of it. Been one step closer to the title. Grayson Waller is walking backstage, been given a wide berth by everyone as we go to a break. Back for commercial. Briggs and Jensen get a video package of them tailgating with Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter and go to a concert. I mean, what the serious fuck? Grayson Waller makes his entrance, gets on a mic in the arsehole chants and mocks Johnny Gargano's speech from last week. Says he overstayed his welcome. He runs some footage he filmed after his attack and said it gives him chills to see it again, but he wants to be realistic. Last week he cemented himself as the NXT superstar, winning War Games and ending a Legends career. Then he went and partied with celebrities this weekend, and what did we do? We complained about him online. He berates Vic Joseph and said he doesn't need friends or family or fans. The only thing he needs to go to the top of the industry is Waller, and with that, the number one heel in NXT and possibly WWE. But come on, Wade, knock him the fuck out. Getting in Vic Joseph's face, we want you to do something. We get a recap of MSK meeting their shaman Matt Riddle. We go backstage with Diamond Mine and Malcolm Bivens cutting a promo, hyping up Bron Breakker versus Roderick Strong later. Roddy steps up and said he's going to divide and conquer tonight, and he's going to take Bron out entirely on his own. Back from commercial, we get a new episode of Lashing Out with Lash. She has two special guests for us this week, and it's jacket time. And Mia Yim stumbles past in her pajamas. And then we move on to Mari Miller versus Ivy Nile. Nile came into this match confident despite Miller's best efforts. Her smile never faded. Nile fought low through Miller's bridging pinfall attempts and locked in a dragon sleeper for a quick tap out. Miller got more offense than expected. Ivy needs polishing, but looks to be a diamond. See what I did there? I really the submission finisher. Zion Quinn is interviewed backstage. He calls out Elektra Lopez and says now he knows the rules of the game she's playing. It's on. Robert Stone rolls up to complain about lack of respect. Von Wagner rolls up and says he's going to smash him and beat him into the ground because he can. And if you have a problem with that, you can say it to his face. We get another Shaman vignette from Matt Riddle and MSK. They're asked to clear their minds and let go. And Matt pulls a scooter out the back for each of them and they ride off. Again, what the actual fuck? Guru Raj versus Harlan. Joe Gacy told Harlan to be himself. His power was obvious in Bell. He smashed Guru Raj head into the mat for hitting him for the win. Afterwards, Gacy left Harlan smashed 4 times just to feel better. As officials forced Harlan to leave, he threw Brian Kendrick down the stairs. Medical staff put Kendrick in a net brace after the impact. Eventually sent to a local hospital for further evaluation. These are babies for Harlan. LA Knight is interviewed as he pulls up to the arena. He mocks Grayson Waller at length and asks someone to go find him for it. Dakota Kai versus Cora Jade. Jade merely survived for a while, impressing the crowd to a frustrated opponent. The captain of Team Kick pulled out a shovel. The referee stopped it, which allowed Jade to stack her opponent free. Kai attacked Jade after the match until Gonzalez ran her off. Toxic Attraction distracted Jade long enough for Rose to lay out a potential next number one contender. The fight between Gonzalez and Kai continues in the parking lot, where officials finally broke them up. Big Mama Cool challenged the captain of a street fight to finally a rivalry. Kai at the very highest level in time and raved top, which was a really touch. Andre Chase versus Tony D'Angelo next, and D'Angelo walked out with his trophy, Pete Dunne's mouthguard, and D'Angelo got serious. He threw Chase in the corner and beat him down with gut punches. He hit a bridging German suplex into a swinging net breaker for the victory. He then grabbed a microphone, mocking the Bruiserweight until Dunne arrived. The Bruiserweight told D'Angelo he was not interested in taking a break in the fingers of the big man and took back. I love Dunne as much as my dislike for Tony. We see Bron Breakker warming up when Grayson Waller rolls up and offers a fist bump. Bron tells him to get his stuff and leave because he's not welcome in the locker room. Everybody else agrees and leaves, saying real superstars get their own locker room anyway. Boa versus Noah. Solo Sikoa watched slowly backstage as Boa dominated with strikes and suplexes while Noffy fought hard to stay in the fight. Was out cold after a roundhouse kick skull. Gonzalez pacing angry in the locker room and cuts a promo about how she needs to end Dakota Kai. And Jacket Time come out to make their entrance. We see Grayson Waller leaving with a girl in a nice car. As they put away, we see Knight down and out on the pavement. It's Grizzled Young Vets versus Jacket Time. They trick Kushida with a blind tag, setting up a combination suicide dive, Russian leg sweep to take over. The Creed brothers arrive to watch the carnage. And Brutus Creed GYV, which allowed Jacket Time to hit suicide dives in sequence for a combination reverse and a moonsault victory. This is over so quick. Wasted talents. Backstage, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams have a bet where they get a Dexter Loomis drawing of Loomis attacking Williams, and we go to a break. Back commercial, commentary hypes up a street fight between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez for next week. And our main event, Bron Breakker versus Roderick Strong. And Strong's veteran mindset was tough for Breakker to match. A series of forearms into an angle slam for a near fall for Strong, who followed up with a suplex into a powerbomb for another near fall. However, Breakker responded with a military press power slam for victory. Tommaso Ciampa snuck in and hit his future challenger with Willow's Bell on the N Championship. This was good stuff, with every slowly getting better. December 21st, Tommaso Ciampa called out Bron Breakker, mocking thinking he'd ever defeat the Blackheart. The NXT champion accepted a match against Breakker at New Year's Evil, though he made clear he felt Breakker was not ready to hold a title that was carried by so many great veterans. He finally broke from taunting, lifting up the NXT champion from his finisher. He stopped himself, setting Ciampa down. He promised he would defeat him at Evil. This was fine. We didn't see Gonzalez and Dakota Kai battling backstage, throwing each other around with no mercy. Both of them went hard as cement walls. Had to remind them that this match would only start once they got Big Mama Cool pulled out a series of weapons from below the ring. She trapped Gonzalez in a trash can and smashed her with a double foot stomp. Gonzalez sent Kai hard into the steel stairs and then pulled her back into a bomb and a trash can. Win. Afterwards, she called out Mandy Rose. Cora Jade interrupted for a case for a title match, and God's Greatest Creation agreed to a triple threat against both women for Toxic Attraction challenges. This was a banger. I think Gonzalez just biding her time. Who's up to the main roster. Joe Gacy and Harlan apologised to Ryan Kendrick for putting him in harm's way. Kendrick announced that he has resigned as a coach, challenging Harlan this week. Grizzly Young Vets are getting ready backstage if James Drake is stunned by an Instagram video that Creed brothers have put up. Gibson said he hates arrogant, cocky teams and he has to plan to beat when they're smart, and they're not. As we go to a break, back from commercial, Indy Hartwell's working out when Perotta rolls up to tell her the match is postponed. Grayson Waller then shows up and hands it to them for taking Johnny Gargano out. He makes some bullshit argument about Ozzy's solidarity and she tells him to worry about AJ Styles. Waller floats Hartwell but holds back. Creed brothers then, Brutus and Julius versus Vets. Jacket Time arrived with their own announce table to watch closely. Julius got the hot tag and hit an impressive drop kick. The momentum. Drake hit a suicide dive into the announce table and the fighting broke down, causing a no contest as Jacket Time got in a furious brawl with Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Can you say multi-man match, everybody? Back commercial, we get footage from earlier with Io Shirai and Zoe Stark in the training room getting into an argument with Legado del Fantasma. Lopez rolls up and says everyone knows Io is crazy, not afraid of her. Shirai responds in Japanese and Lopez backs off. Zoe says we're sticking up for her and likes her, and Io says she does not. Dexter Loomis versus Trick Williams next. And Diamond Mine appeared on the stage to watch this match closely, led by an angry Roderick Strong. Loomis caught Trick sliding and super kicked him. Strong and Hayes began brawling to the back, leading to fight alone. Trick trapped Loomis in a headlock, but he could damage. Williams tried to bash him with a shoe, but the Torchlight ducked it and he hit the silence. Not bad, and Dexter Loomis one of the longest tenure as well. Grayson Waller laid out Loomis to the back afterward, and AJ Styles finally arrived after Waller had laid him out. I was impressed by some of the talent in NXT 2.0, but not Waller, who felt he was mimicking Styles' style. Waller threatened to lay out Styles, but backed off the moment. AJ accused him of calling him out just to get the AJ Styles rub. He sees all the stuff Waller takes for him, and he has potential and he can appreciate it. But a future superstar? Bron Breakker, Tony Janjo, Carmelo Hayes, you can see all those guys still out on Grayson Waller. His problem is he'd rather look good and lose than look bad. Waller points out it was, but AJ self wins and losses. They count less than swipes, likes. They square up by Brazen Bracks off as he let Omos next. This was not bad at all. We see then Diamond Mine backstage. Malcolm Bivens cut the promo. He tells Mello and Trick that what happened when you disrespect them. They want two things, respect and money. So at New Year's Eve, he proposes a champion versus champion, title versus title match. Strong says he's got 2 weeks to find his balls, and Malcolm wishes Hayes a Merry Christmas break. Riddle convinced MSK to call out Imperium the challenge. Imperium MSK is a threat, warning that the group had a general. Yes, they do. And then Idris Sanofe versus Von Wagner, with Stone watching from the matchup. Von Wagner was overconfident, surprise roll up. The big man laid out in Offie afterwards, and then shouldered Stone. I mean, how many times in 2.0? Even on this episode, it seems like it's 4 or 5 times. Lopez is walking backstage with the guy Del Fantasma. She says she's not nervous. EO sees from behind them as we go to a break, leading to Electra Lopez versus Io Shirai. And Shirai clearly had the edge against Lopez. Hit a missile dropkick into a corner, double knee strike to get near full. As both women were recovering, Zion Quinn blasted Joke Quinn Wild and Raul Mendoza, and then pulled out the mistletoe. Santos by Trick Quinn, but the distraction was too much for Lopez. Shirai caught her with an open palm thrust, and the over the moonsault win. And if EO would have lost, I would have rioted. There's no doubt about that. Then the main event, Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo. D'Angelo pulled in a crowbar, but Dunne pulled him into the armbar. The rookie fought back by pulling out the mouth of Dunne and ripping his mouth guard. The Bruiserweight reversed D'Angelo's finisher into a figure snap, and the bitter end for the win. And afterwards, the brawling continued. D'Angelo laid out Dunne with a neck breaker and then broke his hand across the announce table with crowbar. I mean, Dunne didn't deserve to lose this, but the aftermath will. We move on to the December 25th episode. Ivan Ard defeated. No, sorry, I was going to say before that. This is how much time I had on my hands. I actually went and watched 205 live, which happened on the 25th of December. There was a couple of matches. Vinal defeating Fallon Henley. Again, the nice Dragons. Andre Chase defeating Damon Kemp. And Kemp is Bobby Stevenson, the brother Olympic gold medalist Gable. He also has a background in college wrestling. He competed in Minnesota prior to WWE. His offense looked good. This was quite good stuff, even though Chase won. He was a safe set of hands. And Solo Sikoa defeated Ru Feng as well. This is 205. In name. And now the next episode of the 28th of December, the show opens with Grayson Waller making his entrance. He asks how everyone's Christmas went and jumps right to talk about his Christmas as a present, so he booked a flight and tickets for Raw. He recounts his appearance on Raw last night. He claims that if it weren't for Apollo Crews and Commanders being AJ Styles last night, he was supposed to have an adequate replacement, so enter Odyssey Jones. As soon as he gets to the ring, Waller leaves and tries to... Jones gets on the mic and calls him a big time bitch, leading to a match where Jones threw Waller around with ease, but the loudmouth used every trick in the book to get an advantage. He accidentally exposed the turnbuckle, then sent Jones hard into the steel. He followed up with a rolling cutter. You win. And Phenomenal One appeared on Titantron and told the world he wanted Waller. And Waller's getting better. He already has the heat. And NXT needs to make their mind up with Jones. Just going to be like the position, or if they actually see potential in him as well. Jade and Gonzalez interview backstage, say next week is every woman for herself, but tonight they're going to coexist and take out some toxic trash. Io rose up and complains they'll never get a rematch for the title, and Kaylee Ray says she doesn't get who, she wants the next crack at it. Mandy Rose appears and says since all want her so bad, why not have the girls take the night off, and Jade and Gonzalez should wrestle Shy and Kaylee, but the winners will fret. Jason Waller appears backstage to cut a promo accepting AJ's challenge to give MSK the cold shoulder on his way out. We get another Tiffany Stratton video break. MSK make their entrance and get on the mic. Riddle was only able to appear by Titantron, telling MSK to challenge Imperium. Fabian Aichner and Marcel laughs as a challenge of Wesley and Nash Carter. Walter arrives at Titantron and he and Riddle argue until they decide on a 6-man tag match for New Year's Evil. Walter kill Riddle. And then Von Wagner shows up to yell about Idris' win being a fluke. And Manic Blade joins him to say he's going to do the same tonight. Brian Kendrick did not come out for his match with Harlan. Joe Gacy grabbed the microphone and told Harlan that Kendrick was too afraid to confront him. Andre Trace interrupted to give Gacy and Harlan a teachable moment, only to find himself as Kendrick's replacement. Chase came out with a few boots, but Harlan was hardly fazed. He beat down Chase until the referee called for the bell. He grabbed one of Chase's students and carried him to the back. And Andre Chase is the Drew Gulak NX. I want more from Harlan, though. Zion Quinn challenged Elektra Lopez to choose him or Legado del Fantasma. Lopez asked that, but so did Sikoa interrupted. Esperanza Sikoa agreed to a match for later. And then Fallon Henley versus Tiffany Stratton. Stratton finally making a debut. Threw around Fallon and pulled out an impressive series of flips, set up an elbow. But Daddy's little girl finished it off with a SEO. This was a month's time. What's going on? Tony D'Angelo warned Pete Dunne to stay gone after the beatdown he suffered, otherwise fate worse than death. Wade Barrett introduced Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine. Malcolm Bivens assumed Kamala Hayes and shot show up, but Trick arrived with Mello to warn Diamond Mine to back off. Barrett took control of the situation, asking to hear from Mello and Strong. Hayes talked himself with confidence, while the Messiah backbreaker promised to have the greatest night of his life. The two signed a contract. Bivens staying in the ring, and the Creed brothers signing table. Bye-bye, Cruiserweight title. Let's just see the versus Gargano and Devlin. This was fine. Malcolm was great, and Trick did good. Wonder what Strong is in time. NXT showed a vignette for the future Fatal 4-Way match, determining the number contendership for the tag titles. Grizzly Young Vets, Creed brothers, Jensen and Briggs, and Jacket. Then Santos Escobar versus Sikoa, and Sikoa early until Wilder and Mendoza distracted it. Running knee that sent the Samoan Superstar hard into the steel post. Samoan Superstar found a second win while reeling. Zion Quinn arrived and Escobar dive. Distraction hit super kick and splash for the shocking win. Bowen attacked Sikoa backstage. We then get a vignette on Tommaso Ciampa versus Bron Breakker. A question where the rookie could avoid the one mistake that cost him last time. Then we get Malik Braid versus Von Wagner. Robert Stone watched on commentary as a big man beat Blade with forearms. Wagner got rolled up, but he escaped and hit the double on the hook spin out side slam for the win. Interesting enough, he saved Blade for taking more of a beating after that. Von has something, but we shall see. In the main event, Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez is Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray for the number contender. Ray took out Gonzalez with a suicide dive, and then Shirai hit a missile dropkick on Jade for a near fall. Jade ducked the double knee strike in the corner, hit Ray with an insecurity to get the whole tag to Gonzalez. Gonzalez hit Kaylee Ray with a Chinonga bomb, but Jade took the blind tag as Gonzalez and Jade argued. Jade rolled up Ray for free. When his argument back finishes, Rose mocked him from the Titletron. No offense for Cal, but the wrong team won. When Jade pinned Kaylee Ray, a shiver went down. It's an okay man, but looking forward to New Year's Evil, which is next. So January 4th for the show opens with a pay-per-view caliber intro. Really good stuff. Then the big match music, you know that it's Carmella Hayes, the North American champion, versus Roderick Strong, the Cruiserweight championfication match, and the two traded early strikes. Mello especially took over after hitting the springboard reverse leg drop, but the Messiah, the backbreaker, fought back and pulled out the stronghold after a few counters from the champion. After Mello got to the ropes, he took a series of running forearms and slam for it. The two battled to the top rope where Hayes hit an avalanche X-Plex, followed by a diving leg drop to win. And yes, your new Cruiserweight champion, unified with the North America, Carmelo Hayes. I expect Strong to be kicked out of Diamond and in AEW here, but I did like these graphics. Rod talking and Mello's eyes like sauce on a pin aside, this was stuff. And the epic as well. Great. I would score like 4.25 out of 5 if we were doing pay-per-views, because this was pay-per-view. Tommaso Ciampa backstage as AJ rolls up. Styles wishes him luck and is dressed for a fight, and they might be here for one. We get informed that the Dusty Classic starts in 2 weeks for the men's tournament, in February for the women. Styles praised the fans and the impact they have in the business, especially making NXT special. He called out Grayson Waller for devaluing the fans. Waller came out to demand a match with Styles, but only next for the biggest we could. Fair play to AJ trying to build up the Waller. Man, and Pete Dunne cuts a promo about stomping Tony D'Angelo's mouth shut for good next week and go ahead and bring the crowbar. Get Casey Cancelo and Kaden Carter, where Miller rolls up. Instead of getting ready to challenge for the tag titles when Indy Hartwell and Persia Protas, they're going as Prota agrees to weeks out. She says he can find a partner, mooting Tiffany Stratton first, but she gets up and calls her dad. Wendy Chu, me Ying in pajamas, is behind her, and he asks who she is skeptical. And then Imperium, Fabian Eichler, Marcel Barthel and Walter versus Matt Riddle and MSK, Nash Carter and Wesley, and Daddy. What an entry. Marcel Barthel wore down Nash Carter early, but Riddle managed to get the big tag. Walter stopped the Shaman Cole with a chop. Fabian Eichler nearly lost control of the match, but the ring general, late from Barthel. Riddle sent Walter reeling with a series of knee strikes, and MSK and Shaman teamed up to take out Imperium with a combination double suicide dive and springboard moonsault. Riddle hit a German suplex for a near fall, but Walter responded with a powerbomb. Eichner and Barthel laid out Riddle with an elevated brainbuster. That pin had to be broken up by Carter. Riddle battered out Imperium. MSK hit a double team finisher on Eichner, followed by Riddle rolling moonsault, and the Shaman hit an RKO on Barthel. Win. Walter losing stake. But let's hope they don't fuck up the ring general. He's just so good. Wesley sells so. It's a really good match. Shame about the outcome. 4 out of 5. In the parking lot, Riddle rolled off into the darkness, and the Creed brothers told MSK they would never let Lee and Carter beat them in the Dusty Classic. Then Joe says Harlan's implication how people treat him. He's making great strides and showing more straight than ever. In the Dusty Classic, he'll bring Harlan peace, happiness. They're not asked to be put in, they just want. A helicopter flies over the arena. We go to a cockpit room. She says she's a champ, and arrives and gets out to send us to a break. Electra Lopez interview back to what's going on with Quinn. Legado is a difference maker. Family comes first, but she attracts success. And next week you'll get your answer when Santos and Zion wrestle. The winner with her. Then Cora Jade versus Mandy Rose versus Raquel Gonzalez. NXT Championship. Cora Jade rolled down on a skateboard. Gonzalez came out on a motorcycle. Big Mama Cool took over the ring first. We went back to the outside. Jade took down Gonzalez but got sent hard and steps by Road. Jade tried to steal the women inside cradle, but Gonzalez broke it up and laid out both women. As God's greatest creation fell to the match, slipping away, she grabbed a Kenner stick and laid out Gonzalez. Rose tried to isolate Jade, but Big Mama Cool recovered and threw Jade to the floor, turning into a one-on-one battle. Rose tried to escape repeatedly, but Shani delayed. Chingano bomb. Jade broke up the pin with Senton. The young star sent Gonzalez to the outside, drags herself for pinfall, only to get stacked up. Still your women's champion, Mandy Rose. It's hard to believe Rose would be the veteran here, but this was better than expected. Gonzalez would hopefully debut at the Rumble. Free Mackenzie Mitchell asked Electra Lopez about Zion Quinn, and like I said, Lopez announced she would face the winner next week. T. Cameron Grimes made his intention clear for 22. He wanted gold. Von Wagner interrupted Andre Chase in his attempt to give the student protected him last week a full scholarship. He took out Chase and attacked us, even ripped a member of the NXT Universe out of his seat. They are trying with Von. Swear words. Fighting with plants. Let's see if it... we get told that there's going to be a crowbar on a pole match between Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo. But our main event is Bron Breakker versus Muscle Ciampa for the NXT Championship. And Bron Breakker broke an X on his way to the ring to symbolically show how he was ending. The big man looked dominant early, but the Blackheart began ducking the rookie while hitting a big dropkick with Blanchard. Breakker fought back and went to the top rope, but Ciampa tripped him with Trio Woe for a stump and a run a low drop kick. The rookie answered with a spine buster and a standing moonsault. He again went to the second rope, but hesitated. Mistake in the first match, allowing the Blackheart to send him outside. Once again, Ciampa tried to send Breakker hard into the unprotected cement, but Breakker answered by sending him to the announce table. The rookie followed up with a military press power slam, barely broken up by Ciampa grabbing a rope. The Blackheart caught Breakker between the legs with the ropes and hit 2 running knees. Ending for crazy near fall. The two fought into the second rope and Breakker fought back to hit a bulldog and then locked in the Steiner recliner. They tap out after Ciampa gave a nod approval to the young star, earning his win. Yes, your new NXT champion is Bron Breakker. I did like the kick in the NXT. Great intensity in both. Really cool chunks from Ciampa since War Games, of course, with the new NXT colours. But Bron looked incredible at the start. Suplex and nip up, everything. After watching this, Bron will be a guy in WWE. Positioning is on point. Ciampa's been incredible since the CWC. And what a fucking match that was. 5 out of 5. Credit to both. An end of an era and a real beginning. 0.0. What a fun episode. But our last episode of NXT, January 11th, AJ versus Waller, and the show opens up. Of course, a Breakker winning the title. He makes his entrance and he puts Ciampa over as a great fighting champion. He congratulated him after his win, and he said he's going to prove why he earned the title each week. He leaves and crosses paths with Legado del Fantasma on his way out, leading to Santos Escobar versus Quinn. Lopez arrived to distract both men for reeling her. She kicked Quinn between the legs, setting them up to take a phantom driver and a loss. Lopez made the right should be that now. Tony D'Angelo cuts a promo and says of the 16 ways to use the crowbar, he only needs 3 of them tonight. We get a vignette of Mandy Rose doing a photo shoot, but then Cameron Grimes versus Damon Kemp. Grimes found himself outmatched for a moment. This brought out Malcolm Bivens. However, Grimes turned it around with speed and impact offense, winning quickly, caving, and Grimes might be the guy. And then Gacy and Harlan cut a promo for a Black Void. And it getting into that promo. We talk about how they're going to win tonight and the whole tournament, leading to Harlan and Gacy versus Anofi and Blade. Again, if they could win, it'd be in a Dusty Classic. Blade managed to isolate Gacy, but once Harlan hit the ring, he dominated. He lost control, beating down both men until the referee had to cue. This was apps. Get a vignette for Imperium when they're out there. I talk about how they look down on people, don't live up to the set for themselves. The break. Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo. Crowbar on a pole match. I cannot believe I'm saying this in NXT. Vince Russo would be so happy. Just looked like D'Angelo to have control. Dunne fought through and grabbed the crowbar. He locked D'Angelo in a crowbar sister submission. But losing control, D'Angelo went for a steel chair. He knocked the Bruiserweight on the chair and then into the pole before smashing his face with a crowbar. A win. Dunne doing the right thing, putting people over. But this is, we get a couple of vignettes, one from Toxic Attraction, of course highlighting Gigi's own and JC Jane, and then Kaylee Ray destroying the photos as champion. Wendy Chu fell asleep at the start of our next match, but she tagged through around Amira Miller with ease and Casey powerbomb. Persia Prot got the tag and hit a face buster followed by an Indy Hartwell diving elbow to win. So Perotta, Hartwell and Chu win. I like Chu. I don't think it was too bad. Dakota Kai arriving to warm MSK. They should know she won the cup last year. So the Dakota cuts a promo where he says he's fighting is a language. He understands. He doesn't care who shows. He'll get it. Back commercial. Kaylee Ray rolls up late for Mandy Rose. She's gone. She destroys with a base bat and then Boa. So the Sokoa. Both men fight outside. In trash as they continue to brawl. So through the Chinese superstar over a crate. And he stepped over only to have a fireball empowered Boa. What the fuck? Why do? It was announced that Von Wagner had been fined, suspended for his actions last week, only for it to be revealed it was lifted with the fine paid. Hayes started with a moment of silence for Roderick Strong's title reign for celebrating his event just after it's gone. Styles made his shoulders break. Grimes grabbed the keys and Mello from security guard and backstage. He warned the champion. It was this time last year, he'd been doing donuts in the car. But 2022, Grimes his title. And then the main event, AJ versus Grayson Waller. Styles went for the final forearm, but again the rookie escaped. He tripped up Styles and hit a diving elbow for 2. Waller barely made it to rope to escape the calf crusher. Waller got too cocky, going for a Styles escape, went at forearm. Waller ducked it and hit a return springboard cutter for a Pele kick and a brainbuster phenomenal one. Set up the phenomenal forearm to end it. Styles won. Waller that his night was not over, but LA Knight arrived to lay his rookie weeks back after selling Waller running Styles a night, embracing the ring as friends, enemy. I mean, Waller looked nervous, but this was his first main event and the biggest match of his career. AJ is phenomenal. Waller did really well, and I'm impressed. But LA Knight returns the face. He's great considering how hated he was last year. I mean, this wasn't the best episode of NXT and probably hasn't been the best since War Games. But hopefully they can build up towards their next takeover. Going to be missing Tommaso Ciampa and Pete Dunne now. But with LA Knight be what? So on to NXT UK. 7 episodes to look at. 2nd of December, the Battle of the Belts. We start with a promo for the main event and a horrible theme, and Andy Shepherd's telling us Christmas came early. The NXT UK Women's Championship, Miko Satomura with Amelia McKenzie versus Zaya Brookside. Then Taylor taped This Is Our Accolade as a daughter of Robbie Brookside. That was fun. Brookside looks for the lockup. The champion evades. Satomura looks on her head scissors. She escapes with a beautiful headstand. Zaya fires up a flurry, kicks the longbow while Satomura hangs up on the ropes. Miko returns to her authoritative combination offense for a near fall and applies an arm trap crossface. Since they're so close to the rope, Zia reaches out and escapes the hold. She crumbles to the canvas with a nasty headbutt, followed by a round of stiff kicks. Satomura, the Scorpio Rising, nails it. The NXT UK Women's Champion. The final boss prevails. Miko didn't like Zia fucking around. This was a great opener. Teacher didn't really get out of second gear as well. Well, up next, we see Charlie Dempsey's official initiation into Tierman's family. Dempsey speaks with Raja and says the reason he wants to join is so he can expand his legacy. Raja welcomes him with a nice handshake. This was really made stuff, especially NXT Women's Champion Mika Satomura announced she will be gone from NXT UK for a few weeks. She's heading back to Blair. Davenport catches her in a minute. Mackenzie Davenport asks Mackenzie how she's going to hold up once Satomura leaves. Mackenzie laughs it off. A match between her and Davenport next week. I can't wait for me. Up next, we see a rematch between Saxon and Williams. Kenny Williams walks into the match trying to put his less than honourable tactics with a rake to the eye. Williams skates the corner with a double stomp. Just stomping. Huxley blocks a forearm, turns it to a toss by a Brat Breaker. Just as Williams gains the upper hand, Subculture's music hits. No one appears, and Huxley takes advantage of the tease with a ferocious slam to earn the pinfall victory. I don't like Huxley, but match will become a feud, hopefully. The rankings will actually help NXT UK and actually make sense. This was okay. Charles Samuels fills the top 6 list of number contenders that he feels would make for excellent. His friend and current head in Dar. Sam Gradwell wasn't happy with the bottom of the list. He used to challenge Samuels up the rankings. Gradwell versus Shah is the match. And then the NXT UK Championship on the line. Ilya Dragunov versus Rampage Brown. Both men go straight for a sturdy collar and elbow tie-up. Brown prevails with a high angle, sends Dragunov towards the outside. Brown continues the onslaught by driving the champ's spine first into the ring post. Back to the ring they go. Brown looks for the first pin. Dragunov kicks out. Brown powers Dragunov to another corner throw for another near fall. Dragunov digs deep with an air raid crash. He has a hard time following up with a German suplex, but gets several palm strikes instead. Brown fires up with vicious forearm. Dragunov returns with a twisted. Is Brown unable to continue the match. Referee stops it, giving Dragunov the main event victory. The Tsar remains the NXT champion. Brown was knocked out cold. I hate to see it. It's not the first time he has done saying this, but of course Big Dave got his name. Anyway, it was good whilst it lasted. The next episode of NXT UK, December 9th, from us, have a heated singles con Mackenzie versus Blair. Davenport executes a back kick and eats a spear, but kicks out. Davenport turns the momentum around with a missile drop kick off the top rope. Mackenzie evades a Falcon Arrow and turns it into a high angle suplex. Mackenzie eats a knee, jumping down from the top rope. Davenport secures a pinfall with a Falcon finisher. Davenport mocks the NXT UK Women's Champion Miko Satomura by locking him and Mackenzie into an SDF. It looks like Davenport was calling a shot for a title. It's a good open and Blair will eventually be champion. But before his match today, Charles Samuels and FG Cup champion Darce, Scanlan Form Style at Aiken and Nathan Fraser put spots on Darce Samuels aren't too. We see the finish of Brown versus Dragunov. It's reported that Brown will discuss the matter for now after falling to Mika Satomura last week. So Brookside has a chance of becoming the NXT champion. We head back to the ring to hear a statement from the Irish Devlin himself. The franchise player believes it's time to climb the highest NXT UK, earning a title shot. The champion Dragunov approaches the ring. Dragunov says it's where he comes from. They talk less and fight more. Devlin asks for one chance to career and capture their chuckles. He said whether Devlin threatens, he doesn't feel intimidating. He's prepared for whatever the Irish ace throws at him. Devlin throws shade, bringing up Dragunov's family. And the day he comes home and tells him he lost the title. He charges Devlin in the corner and the group of referees pull him apart. We begin the new year with the Tsar and the Irish Ace. Come on, give us this at a takeover Dublin with Volta versus Balor as well. We learn more about Amel and what inspired her to become a superstar. This does more for character building than anything else. This should be on Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite as well. Kenny Williams is shifting his focus towards Mark Andrews, scared and insecure. And once he's done with Andrew, there won't be a subculture, a scum culture. Sam Gradwell versus Sharp Samuels, yes, dream match. Gradwell meets Samuels on the outside with a leaping pounce from off the apron. Gradwell rolls Samuels back in and Samuels rolls himself back out. But Shah managed to pick up steam with a power slam. Noam Dar tried to choke Gradwell with a scarf and the referee caught it. While Dar, the referee, Gradwell decides to use the scarf by whipping it straight towards Samuel's family jewels. He then ends the match with another huge slam for "Come on, you yogurt. Shut up, you mug." Probably my favourite. Sent back and forth in wrestling for a very long time. I loved every second of this. The sequence at the end was fantastic. And fire from Sam as well. Gallus are ready to leave their mark on Dia Familia, calls Tierman, Dempsey and Raja. We find out it's Fraser versus Akid for number contendership match for Heritage Cup. But the main event this week, can Pretty Deadly retain the titles and maintain an undefeated streak? Or will Mass Mountain add a piece of gold to resumes? Will Bates Spar's house in the corner, but is it enough for him to earn a pin? Bate digs deep with his 97 Dowler. Howley arrives, but finds himself on the receiving end and then moves seconds later. To everyone's surprise, Howley kicks out. Only two other superstars that ever kicked out of Bates' 97 driver, by the way. Sam Stoker runs in and tag and hits a gustbuster, mocking Bates' rebound lariat. Pretty Deadly getting hit the exact same move. Here comes Trent Seven. Seven connects with a DDT on Stoker, sending him out of the ring. He executes a 7 stars lariat, but he can't get Howley down. With 7 on Dean Street, Pretty Deadly set up spilt milk, and after hitting it, he looks for the pin, and Bate manages to break things up. Bate gets caught with spilt milk on the outside. Stoker and Howley are growing frustrated as 7 refuses to end things on their turf, even trying to get hit by the tag title. 7 sends Stoker off his feet with a perfect German suplex. Big kick to Howley as he flies back from the top rope. Bate heads to the top rope. 7 dumps Howley on top of Stoker with a burning hammer. Bate soars off the top with a beautiful spiral tap. And the 1, 2, 3, and Mustache Mountain did it. They are your new NXT UK Tag Team Champions. What an emotional and groundbreaking moment for the forefronts of NXT UK. Bate is of a triple UK, a sensational main event. What a moment for Mustache Mountain and real emotion. We'll move on to 16th. We start with Charlie Dempsey with Coffee. Dempsey actually worked over Coffee's bloody nose, trying to prevent him from breathing. Dempsey hit a headbutt at the corner that down both men. They had a lengthy exchange, but Coffee finally downed Dempsey with discus lariat. Hitting a double jump reverse cowboy, awkwardly hitting his hand. He followed with a Glasgow send-off, but Tyrion and Raham Raja ran and pulled Dempsey out of the ring. Gallus followed shortly after and brawled with D. Famali. This allowed Dempsey to hand to the steps and actually choke Coffee out with a Dragon Slooper. Coffee passed out and the referee stopped. Actually, I love this. This is a brilliant match, and this feud is just getting started. Dempsey has the world in his hand. Credit to Joe. This was like boxing. The exchange of strikes was breathtaking as well. We get a highlight video last week's great match between Mustache Mountain and Pretty Deadly. Since Gallo congratulated Mustache signed to determine their first challenge. It'll be a tournament starting in 3 weeks where Symbiosis face Uppercut. The winner of that match is the winner Dia Familia, Jack Stars, and Dave Mastiff, which takes place in 4 weeks, summoning new contenders. And also video of Jordan Devlin there that followed him through the day for putting on fresh and face me 1,000. Took him out of his penthouse over in Dublin, driving a sports car fast with a top down beating fans. He said the year was pathetic, fighting for his family and friends, leading their approval. Devlin himself, this was a shot, made Devlin a confident douchebag who could back words. NXT Mustache Mountain making their way out. 7 said it'd been a great night when they won the belts, and now, after a couple of rough months, Mustache Mountain were back. He said they felt sure in the past young vets. 7 got emotional, said he wasn't sure what he'd do if they hadn't won the titles. He wasn't sure what he'd do. He didn't know how long he had left, but they cheered. He also said they were the only team to ever hold the NXT and NXT UK tag team. Tyler Bate was the first man to be UK champ, hold the Heritage Cup and champion as well. The crowd chanted Grand Slam boy at him, and 7 thanked the fans and everyone accrued the roster, then wished everyone a happy Christmas and happy New Year. I only wish Trent knew so close to retirement he's saying it. He should say, I'm getting too old for this shit. Ashton Smith and Carter cut a promo backstage. We get a great video package on Mika Samoa and Blair Davenport showing highlights. Davenport said she'd become a normal foreigner in Miko's home country, but never got to meet her in the ring. Now, a foreigner in her country. The 2 women meet in 3 weeks. Kenny Williams versus Danny Jones. Williams grabbed the mic on his way to the ring, said he didn't want Jones, and told Danny to go back and get him. Jones wouldn't comply. He briefly dominated, but Williams took his knee out. Jones came back with a corner, hit and exploded for a 2 count. Williams came back with another tackle to hit the bad luck, but wouldn't make the cover. He hit a second bad luck when Danny looked massive. I do like Kenny though. Symbiosis cut a promo saying they are going to be tag champions. We get a special holiday this week. Kenny Williams come out of the room screaming. There'd been a terrible accident. Mark Hendry in pain, clutching his arm for a doctor. And then the main event, NXT UK Heritage Cup. Number contendership, A-Kid versus Nathan Frazier. Round 1, they shook hands at the start of the round. They traded takedowns early until A-Kid hit a drop kick and went for the Fujiwara armbar. A-Kid his arm under control. They evaded each other's attack as the round concluded. Round 2, A-Kid started with a waistlock takedown. Frazier tried working over the arm, but A-Kid escaped and they traded pin combination. Frazier scored a fall over one of them, much to his own surprise, so it was 1-0 Frazier. Round 3, A-Kid came out with a running kick but missed. He tried a few more, but finally scored and locked in an arm bar, but Frazier made the ropes. A-Kid locked in the octopus hole, but Frazier made the ropes want more. He hit a quadruple and reversed DDT for another near fall. A-Kid locked in a sleeper and a running click, finally slapped on the Fujiwara armbar, but this time ran out and Frazier was saved by them. Round 4, Frazier escaped the sleeper and hit a drop kick but missed a double foot stomp on the top. He hit a twisted neck breaker for a close near fall. Frazier hit a backward roll into a Boston Crab, but A-Kid turned into a pinning combination for a near fall. A-Kid threw Frazier to ringside and hit a fly scoop. He got back in the ring, score a fall, and tie things 1-1. On to round 5. A-Kid hit Fisher with a suplex for a very close 2. Frazier come back with a super kick for his own. They battled on the top, with Frazier hitting the Spanish Fire Power Slam for another 2. He missed a moonsault but landed on his feet. A-Kid managed to lock an armbar, but she turned to an omoplata and got the tap out, where A-Kid winning 2-1. A-Kid offered his hand to Frazier after the match, who shook it. This was great. Shorter hair, but another loss. He's too nice. A bit like Matt Sydal is Frazier, but great main event. A-Kid is so crisp, he should be called Pringle. December 23rd, NXT UK. Nina Samuels is just to a very special show, looking back at the Iron Man match between Devlin and A-Kid 4th. Kaylee Ray versus Miko from June 10th. A highlight was Sam Gradwell and his son calling us yogurts. And then December 30th, the NXT UK holiday special was hosted by Pretty Deadly. Yes, boy, welcome to the New Year's edition, the Pretty Deadly Power Hour. The look back, which was Gallus versus Pretty Deadly for the NXT UK Championship, February 25th. We see Mastiff, Stars, Smith, Huxley, Primate, Raja Carter, Frazier, Brookside, Wolfgang, Amel, Dennis all had a message. And Charles Samuels said, oi, oi, what a year, 2021. I made my debut in NXT UK. Darwin's Heritage Cup. How can things only get better? I'll tell you how, because the odds say 22 is going to be even bigger. Happy New Year, mugs. And of course, Ia Dragunov says, I'm the NXT UK champion, and I wish everyone the very best and a happy new year. And Sam Gradwell said, hey you all, this is the Thunderstorm Sam Gradwell with some New Year's resolutions. I vowed to become master of the paranormal and a qualified exorcist, because there will be no demons around here on my watch. And also vowed to keep rattling jowls, wobbling kidneys and ruining days until the Thunderstorm is on top of the pile of NXT UK. So happy new year, have a good one, be safe, and don't be a yogurt. And the second match we saw was Ia Dragunov, Joe Coffey versus Rampage Brown in the triple threat match. 21 Ia wins, becomes the rest history. The penultimate NXT UK is January 6th. The show opened with a promo video highlighting tonight's main event match between Mika Satmore and Blair Davenport. Andy Shepherd welcomes the first NXT UK of 22. Our match is Ashley Smith and Oliver Carter versus Symbiosis. The Babyface team used some double team magic to wear the bigger T-Bone down. Symbiosis came back and went for a double suplex. Smith pulled his partner out the move into safety. Symbiosis finally found their groove and worked Smith over, focused on his back. They scored a near fall, and Smith, after Primate, hit a frog splash. And Primate was on the top rope, but Smith rammed him. He closed on T-Bone to the outside while Carter took him out with a dive. Smith then lifted Primate on the shoulders, and Carter hit him with a Doomsday Cutter for the pin. Primate and T-Bone need, but Dennis could work as a manager for a good heel. Fun opener. I've seen the progression of Smith. It's nice. Blair Davenport was shown warming up backstage. Pretty Deadly were asked about losing the tag team titles. They complained about some other teams receiving a chance at a title in a tournament. Sam Gradwell then walked up, told them stop whining, complained, and told them they had to do what they want around here. I mean, I would team yogurts. An absolutely fantastic on video, and the Dragunov aired. He was shown training. His intensity wasn't his biggest strength, but his family was. Showed it with his wife and son at home for him food and playing. When his son falls, and he asks him, why do you fall? And his son replies, to get back up. He says family is strength, and they played clips of Jordan Devlin insulting Dragunov. His family talk trash. I mean, Ia Devlin is money. I mean, I loved this. I loved all the build up for this. This was great. Then Dar watching the match between A-Kid and Nathan Frazier on his phone, while Samuels jotted down all the possible ways for Dar to win on the flip chart. They settled on Dar to beat Frazier in the fourth with 11 odds. Then they cut a tape promo Rome family. And they talked about how the eye see everything, and now he sees him winning tag gold. It was nice that Tyler Bate and Trent Seven were friends, but their bond was stronger. Something I like about this crew. I mean, maybe not Raja as such, but then we get Zaya Brookside versus Myla Grace. Brookside played Cray Baby some more, escaping to the ropes and complaining with her arm, got worked over. Grace kept her momentum and the crowd was orderly behind her. She hit 619 Zia, was sitting in the corner. Zia pulled her off the ropes, hit a kick to the back and hit a winner. Northern Irish Grace did alright actually, and Zia's Brady character is great. This was a much needed win. A-Kid trained the UK Performance Centre, talked about wanting to recapture NXT UK Championship Cup. Jack Stars Dave Master cut point about how they win tag titles. Emir was interviewed in the UK Performance Centre about an amazing video package in detail. The story how it exploded on. Ginny then entered and told it was a pathetic sob story and left to catch a limo. Stevie Turner looked on and said that Ginny had a point. Amel flipped the lid, pushed her against the glass door and braided her in French. A video package on Walter Red talked about how next week he would make his last stand in NXT UK and have his final match on the brand. He then cut a promo and said he dominated, brought glory, respect, dignity, sport. He said it was great things. And Fraser's a great competitor. He was the future of the brand, but Walter wasn't impressed. Fraser was only in for himself and taking a piss out of the sport. He said that every time the ring general steps in, he comes out. Walter using piss right. Then NXT UK Women's Championship, Miko Satomura versus Blair Davin. Well, Satomura started out with leg kicks, then turned a knuckle lock into a judo hip toss. She followed with an arm drag and near an arm bag. Following control of her opponent, they finally exchanged strikes as Satomura kicked Davenport off the top rope to the outside as Davenport manoeuvre. The champion kept on offense, using a surfboard and more strikes, sending Davenport small. Davenport used her advantage though, more straight on the ring, almost knocking her out. She hit a draper DDT off the apron to the floor, then quickly went for a pin, only scored a 2 count. She hit a running basement drop kick for another near fall, a chin lock. Miko finally made another stand, hitting a vicious suplex to Davenport, then locking the STF, but Davenport managed to lock in the Fujiwara armbar. Davenport went for the Falcon Arrow but couldn't get it. Instead, Miko went for a Pele kick, but Davenport caught a leg and locked on her own. She followed with more kicks and a running knee that sent Satomura through the ropes. Davenport hit a double foot stomp off the top of Satomura's back, and she was on the apron. Satomura evaded the V-trigger and hit 2 consecutive Death Valley powerbombs for a 2. Satomura went for a Scorpion Rising, but Davenport evaded and hit a knee. Davenport went for Falcon Arrow, but Miko evaded. Went for Death Valley Bomb. Davenport turned it to a sunset flip, but Satomura reversed, sat down. The pinfall victory. As Satomura celebrated, Davenport attacked from behind and hit 3 consecutive V-triggers. She posed for a belt and then threw it on Satomura and told her again. Really nice, tight stuff like that I really like. It's told a great story, both women better than most. Great strike exchange event. The veteran out wrestles Young Lion, but she won't win next time. Brilliant stuff. Then our last episode of NXT UK, January 13th. Walter's 3-year run in NXT comes to close. Walter's last stand. We kick off with a hype vignette for his last stand, and Dave Mastiff and Jake Styles make their entry. De Familia. Raja hits an early deadlift toss and uses strength to keep Styles at bay. Styles slow cartwheel away from Raja and managed to work the arm. He dominated Raja with 3 corner drop kicks and a suplex for tagging Mastiff in. But TM tagged in. Raja failed to move Mastiff. Mastiff closed on both men. Styles and Mastiff stayed on top of TM with quick tags. But Dempsey dragged him out of the ring to save his stablemate. Dempsey distracted the referee on Team and Raja to double team Styles on the outside. Team hit a top rope drip kick and beat on Styles. Now using fast tags to stay on top. Mastiff eventually got the hot tag and hit a splash, rolling fireman's carry, hit the sentinel of Raja and dropkick Tierman at the same time. Dempsey took out Styles, but Gallus came to ringside. Tierman and Dempsey squared up to Gallus. Mastiff hit a German suplex and got victory. So why have the New Hill group lose? I mean, it continues the Gallus versus the familiar feud, I suppose. This was a tag match. We then get a recap of Satomura's successful title defense over Devon this week. A hype package airing of Via Dragunov NXT UK Championship match against Jordan Devlin. Get confirmation the match will take place in 2 weeks, so our next NXT update will have that on there. Emil made her entrance whilst Ginny was in commentary. Emil versus Stevie Turner. Turner charged at Mel with a big boot, but the French hype avoided her. Mel sent Turner to the outside, but Turner took a step. She landed a couple of kicks, but Mel retaliated with a bulldog. She missed a kick in the call, allowing Turner to take control. Turner dominated Mel for a few minutes, but Turner locked on a painful armbar. Hit a few more kicks. Turner came off the ropes, but Mel met with a scoop slam. She followed up with a kick in the call and a hope breaker. Victory. Jenny was good on commentary. I still think Turner, but Mel has shown real emotion and showed that this is a dream. Pretty Deadly accosted Sis Scallon, said they were unhappy with Sam Gradwell calling him a yogurt last week. Scallon said he could have a tag match against him with a partner of his choice. Pretty Deadly said it would be a handicap match as Gradwell has no friends. Well, I'm in because me and Gradwell are Twitter friends. It was asked by NXT who's got next, who's going to be the breakout star in 2022. It's Sam Gradwell, and you yogurts don't even know yet. And TBK Secret X said, what the hell is yogurts supposed to mean when insulting? And this is the thing, and luckily for me, I put it's a branch off a mug with my guess, but you would have to ask him. And of course, Sam Gradwell himself explaining exactly what it was on Twitter, and also saying that as long as we know that he's going to be a breakout star, that's all that matters. We get a preview of A-Kid versus Dar as well. Then we see Ginny and Amel going at it backstage, with Nathan Fraser then making his entrance, going the main event versus Walter. And the fans in attendance saying Walter's going to kill you whilst the two locked up. Walter threw Fraser away. Yoshin then took him to the corner. Fraser dodged his chopper, retreated. Walter grabbed the arm and hoisted Fraser over his shoulder to the mat. He worked the arm. Fraser flipped and rolled his way out, but Walter tapped Fraser on the head. Fraser slapped him, which probably wasn't the best idea. Walter grabbed Fraser and stretched him over the top turnbuckle and chopped him. Fraser managed to come back, but Walter chapped him in the back. Fraser strove to get his feet as Walter stayed on top. He went for a powerbomb, but Fraser reversed for the Hurricane Runner. Walter floored Fraser with another chop and hit some more before trying to put a sleeper on, but Fraser rolled out, hit the standing shooting star press. Walter put a sleeper on again, but Fraser backflipped out. Walter hit a big boot, went for a powerbomb, but Fraser reversed with a destroyer. He hit 2 super kicks and a springboard backflip to an inverted DDT. Walter, who now went to the outside, Fraser drove him through the ropes, but Walter caught him. Fraser caught the super kick on the outside. Walter returned to the ring and Fraser target leg. With Walter struggling to stand, Fraser went for a springboard dive, but Walter swiped him out of the sky with a massive chop. Got him up for the powerbomb and finished him off. Victory. Look, I'm not crying, you are. Walter is incredible. Great match. January 29th is when Walter made his debut. And now, like we say, January 13th, his last match in NXT UK. What a 3 years that was. The Walter's chops. Goodbye. So that is it. We are bang up with NXT and NXT. Let's not forget that our next episode is going to be massive Rumble live show where we'll do Wrestle Kingdom, Impact Hard to Kill. At the Rumble, we're having the mini games and of course have all the stats as well. But don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter, at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. WNR also on Facebook and Instagram. Across all Google platforms. Send us an email at WNRPodcast@gmail.com and YouTube at the WNR Podcast. We have all latest clips and podcasts at the same time. On YouTube, they do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes. You can download, subscribe, rate to there. So that's it. Like I said, our next episode, the Royal Rumble Live, January 29th. But until then, I have been James Rowlands. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.